Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to just jump on and kind of do a video where I conceal my acne spots. As you can see, my skin is not in its prime right now, and it has not been for a while. So I've been suffering through a lot of breakouts. I am currently taking using topical cream. Topical cream prescribed by the dermatologist. So I've kind of been battling with that. Sometimes if I want to do like something that's super full coverage and I want to really hide up the acne spots, like the marks themselves, scars, because a lot of it is scarring too, then I've kind of come up with a way to like color correct and really conceal those areas. So yeah, if you're interested in watching, keep on watching. I'm gonna go in with some Caudalie spray just to hydrate more, so this soothes and moisturize skin. It's good for, I honestly don't really use it all the time, but I know that it's good for sensitive skin and just gives you that boost of hydration. So you know, we're gonna experiment and we're gonna spray it right now. Extra boost of hydration. And it's a really like a good misting mechanism, let's say. It like disperses evenly. It's, you know, big, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so going in now with a mattifying primer. I'm gonna use the Rimmel London Stay Matte. This claims that it keeps you not oily for 8 hours. I disagree. I've used it quite a few times and I really don't think it mattifies me at all, but whatever. We're just gonna use it because primer is primer. Now what we're gonna start off with is color correcting. So I just use my little e.l.f. Corrective Concealer palette. I'll go in with a small little brush like this, which is also from e.l.f. And what I'm using is the green color here. I actually really like this thing. I never used a color corrector before, a green one. And I got this a while ago, and yeah, it's actually quite good. The green's good. They're creams and they really stay creamy. So I basically just use it for the green. So I'll go in and apply that to where I am needing the coverage. So just like that. The other side too. And when I use this, I just stipple it in. I'm not like moving it around. I'm literally just stamping it in like that and hitting those areas that need the color correcting. And I go in with this first because obviously it's green. It's gonna cancel out that redness, and then you can conceal it later on with your other makeup products. This is definitely something that you need. Oh my god, my skin is so dry. So I'm gonna use my NARS Natural Radiant in Barcelona. And you can just use any foundation really. I'm not using this one in particular because it does something phenomenal for covering. I just really enjoy the product. So I'm gonna use that. And once again too, I'm going to not use a sponge. I'm gonna use a brush when I blend this in, because when you use a sponge and you're trying to like spot conceal and stuff, well, just like sponges in general will absorb your product. We don't want that. We want to keep our color correction in the same spot as we want it. So I'm just going in with a buffing brush, and just to blend that all in, I'm gonna stamp it on first, and especially over that area. This idea also for the video came from Christina X Makeup, her YouTube tutorial on how to cover her acne scarring. I kind of follow some of her tips. A lot of the stuff that she showed I also do on my own. Hers is more so to like cover and not get cakey. But yeah, I'm just kind of taking some things that I saw from there. So in her video too, she starts off with the green concealer, the color correcting, sorry, and then goes in with foundation and then with her concealer. She also says the same tips too, like don't use a sponge because that's going to absorb your makeup off and those areas. So I'm using the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Full Coverage Concealer. This is for oily and acne prone skin. I use the shade medium because I want it to match my foundation. I don't want it to highlight or brighten that area. I want it just to camouflage and conceal it. So same thing, just dabbing that in, going in with that same brush. Really hoping there's no more green concealer left on that. I'm just gonna pat it in. Same thing. That looks so much better than what my skin was like before. Now we're gonna go in with regular concealer for the face. Where did I? Gonna use my L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear in the shade Cashmere. I do find this quite light and a little stark sometimes, and a little goes a long way. So I'm just gonna do that. I'll probably bring it down here and blend in. And I forgot to put on my forehead down the bridge of the nose, but I'm just using that excess concealer to do those, to cover those areas, because this stuff, like, you really don't need a lot. And then applying that to my eyelids too, since we're there. And same thing too with this, well, with all my concealer, I always apply, I stipple it in. I don't swipe it around. Don't go like that. I just press it in. Alright, so looking pretty good. Now what we're gonna do is set the under eye area and where we color corrected. So I'm using my Mercier translucent powder. So for the under eyes, what I do first is I will see if there's any creasing that has happened since I stopped dabbing in my concealer. And there usually is on just like the tiniest bit. So I'll pat that out. I'll buff it out. And then I take some of the translucent powder and just lightly set it first. Lightly set. And then I will go in with the Mercier Puff. This little guy is so convenient, and I really like using it for baking. I like to use a sponge too, but I've just been kind of on a kick with this. And so I will now press in that powder and bake. I just press. Bake on the sides of the nose because I get oily. Bake under my eyes. Some people like have their baking look so like perfect, and mine's just like all over the place sometimes. For the areas that we covered, I'm gonna go in with a brush. And just dab it into the powder and place it on the areas that we have concealed and color corrected, just so that this will ensure that the product doesn't move, that it lasts, and it stays where it should. One of my favorite things to do is using a concealer. So I'm using the Born This Way Sculpting Concealer in the shade Chestnut. Because my acne is right on the cheeks right there, I like contouring with a concealer, because that way it gives me the coverage that I still need in those areas, but I still get to contour. Last summer when I had my like really bad initial breakouts, I skipped contouring in general because it, like, if I would contour here, I didn't want to hit those problem areas, but I just, like, after seeing so many people on YouTube who can contour with concealer, I was like, that's such a smart idea. So this stuff literally, it'll go such a long way. So I'm doing the tiniest amount. We're just gonna start on that side actually. And then using a brush like this, I'm going to blend that out. See, 2 little dots and I got so much product. And I just will buff it out, bring it up. So I'm not gonna risk it and touch where I really did color corrected conceal. I'm just gonna bring it as close as possible and just leave it there. And then you want to just keep buffing that out and just like the tiniest amounts. And we're just gonna work our way around the face. And same thing with this too. I think just generally I always dab in all of my products. I don't really do much sweeping motions and just kind of dab. But just to make things look all nice, I go in with a sponge as well. And just pat everything down so it looks flawless and seamless. Good, we're gonna wipe off the bake now under the eyes and on the side of the nose. So now I'm going to clean up the edges, like underneath the contour with the translucent powder again. I'm gonna leave that like that, and then here I'll go into bronzer. That was weird how I said that. I'm using a matte bronzer. So with this makeup, when I'm full coverage concealing like this, I like to keep things mostly matte. So I'm gonna go in with a matte bronzer. Try and just be careful of where you are putting your bronzer if it's gonna hit those areas. Don't do like heavy swiping motions. Just try and be careful with it so that you're not moving your work around or blending too much out. Okay, now we're gonna dust off that bake underneath. Normally where I like to apply my blush is a little bit lower here where it would hit that acne, so I think I'm gonna skip the blush today and I'm just going to highlight. So I'm going to, actually first I'm gonna spray my face just so it can, like, you know, melt all those products and the powders and whatnot. So, and then we're gonna go in with my little mini WhatsApp from Benefit. This fucker didn't want to cover up properly. Wants to be a pain in my arse, but whatever. I might just go like that a little bit more. Okay, so that's basically it for the skin. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my makeup and then come back on when I am fully finished. But that was mostly the tutorial part that I wanted you guys to see, is how to conceal those areas. For this little guy here, I probably would have gone in with a little bit more concealer, but at the end of the day, I also don't really care that much. So I'm just gonna let him shine through and live his life. But I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and then I'll pop back on after and show you guys the final look. Okay, so this is the final look. I just popped on some fake lashes, did some liner, lined my lips with Kylie Cosmetics Malibu, and then added this lip plumper here, which is by Soap & Glory. It's the Pillow Plump XXL in the shade Nude in Town. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Unfortunately, like, if you have that textured and the bumps like I do, that's still gonna be there. I haven't really figured out a way to cover that, if that's possible. I don't really care about that. You know, like, it's skin. It's not always gonna be flawless. Mainly the point of this video was to cover up that redness. Overall, I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. So yeah, à la prochaine. Bisous. Bye. See ya.